Hello, everyone, and a warm welcome to the show in conversation with Sagar Amlani at the Crossroads. Today's guest is Gautam Ganglani. I've posted it, and everybody has seen the posters, and the comments and the response has been amazing. Thank you very much for that. But why do we have these conversations, and why at the crossroads? At the crossroads, life isn't the same. Too much of stress, too much of tension, and taking decisions at the crossroads requires support. Support from our friends, our family, and our loved ones. So, when we talk about friends, families, and loved ones, who are they and how do we build that network? A thought comes to my mind. Whenever in corporate we want to take a good decision or whenever we want to have an intimate connection, what do? चल यार चाय पी लेते हैं. Let's have a coffee. Or sometimes we even have breakfast, lunch, or maybe we go out for a dinner together. Most of the times we know that the decisions are not made in the boardroom, but the decisions are made either at the dinner table, lunch, or during breakfast. What does it mean? What do we do there? And why that happens? And that brings me to a point which is known as breaking the bread. Yes, my friends, breaking the bread. We break the bread is not in literal meaning, but it's a thing to say that we connect with people, we connect with human beings when we have meal together. And that meal can be anything, a lunch, a breakfast, or a dinner, or even a brunch, or even something that we just share together, either maybe a chai time or a coffee time. So let me welcome our guest today, Mr. Gautam Ganglani. Born in London, he completed his education in UK and now has got a phenomenal experience of 20 years as a business entrepreneur, started by a father and son team. Now that self is celebrating relationship there. And that brings to us a very, very strong community of right selection speakers. And they have, brought in people like Marshall Goldsmith, Kaufman, Brian Tracy. I mean, I can go on and the evening will be short. But the father and son has brought in tremendous energy, tremendous people, and tons of learning to all of us. So, first of all, gratitude for that. Secondly, he's passionate about co creating, collaborating, and connecting with people. My friend, if you see all the guests who come on this show are all connectors. They connect with people to add value. They connect with people because they are genuine at their heart, and that is why they have transformed lives, they have transformed different companies, and they transform your event. So next time when you're looking at some speaker at your event and you know what you want to do and you want best results, Gautam is the man to go. Apart from that, he's also got experience of building relationships all around the globe, including India, Asia, Europe, Gulf, and everywhere he connects, he brings in a lot of positive vibe and energy to transform our lives, bringing happiness, fulfillment, and the learnings which change our professional and personal life. So let me bring Gautam in the show. Hi, Gautam. Welcome. Gautam, you're on mute, my dear friend.
An absolute pleasure to be with you this evening.
Thank you very much to be on the show and gratitude to you and your father for bringing us so much energy for us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, Gautam, before we get on to the question and answer, what does breaking bread mean and what is the significance of the book that you've written, Breaking Bread?
Well, breaking bread is the energy exchange between two or more people. I mean, traditionally, breaking bread, was a term that I was familiarized with in my time in the UK, which is where I was born and spent the first 20 years of my life. And when you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, that is a form of breaking bread. They say families that eat together stay together. And to me, that's really the foundation of where the term breaking bread became omnipresent in my life. Obviously, it evolved over the years and into the business. And that's where breaking bread is where you said you have meaningful conversations over a meal. It breaks barriers. It builds human connections. And be it these kind of conversations you have with your team internally, be it with clients, be it with your vendors. When you have a meal with another human being, it removes the formality, the barriers that may exist between one and another because you're having food and there's an energy exchange. And that then just inspires you to be able to sort of get to know each other better, build rapport, build trust, build confidence. And those are the very ingredients that we need as leaders, as entrepreneurs, to be able to grow our businesses and thrive, not just survive.
Wow, such a wonderful insight. And that's exactly where I remember meeting you in Delhi in 2019. And we
Yep.
had a short conversation. And again, that was at the lunch. We were breaking bread together. And the result, I mean, we've built a rapport, a connection that even though I haven't met you so often, but whenever I speak to you or we share a WhatsApp message or exchange a message, it's just amazing to talk to you because the energy that you bring in is just fabulous. So
Thank you so much.
now
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
everyone knows the secret behind the breaking bread and the book, and if you want to know more about it, I'll be sharing Gautam's link very soon. Coming to the next question, what does crossroads mean to you, Gautam?
Crossroads to me means when you come to a certain part in your life where you need to take a decision. Do you go forward? Do you go left? Do you go right? Do you stop? Or do you walk behind? We're constantly surrounded by crossroads in our life, both personally and professionally, where we come to a place where we need to make a choice, a decision, an action step. And that to me is what defines crossroads.
Wow, wow, great. So now, can I ask you to share some of the crossroads in your life? Because I'm sure everyone goes through the crossroads. Each human being has a different crossroads in their life. And the reason and the purpose of this show is basically to share the crossroads which we all have faced in our life, because we don't know, someone somewhere who is listening this conversation right now on live or maybe offline will learn something from your crossroads, and maybe he will be able to sail through his own crossroads. Because as we know, at the crossroads, the family, friends, and everyone is there. But when you're walking that road, when you're taking that decision, the ownership lies only on you. So over to you, Gautam. Please feel free to share some of your crossroads.
Thank you, Sagar. It's been my pleasure to share some crossroads in my life. There have been many, as with each one of you, I'm sure. And I'd like to share perhaps three crossroads. And these are personal, true stories that I have experienced in my life, and I hope they resonate with you. First and foremost, as I shared briefly in the earlier part of this conversation, I was born and brought up in London, UK, and that's where I spent the first 20 years of my life. And at the age of 13, I would say this was a crossroads that came about in my teenage years. I was at a school where I was bullied, I was teased, I was humiliated, I was made fun of. This was not a very comfortable environment, and my self esteem was very low. It resulted in my confidence also being below average. My grades also were not positive, and I was confused, stressed, anxious, no sense of purpose, no clarity, a very difficult time.
Yeah.
So, this crossroads, I said to myself, let me speak to my dad. And I asked him, I said, Papa, nothing makes any sense. How can you help me through this time? And he said, Son, I'm going to give you three pieces of advice. But before I give you that piece of advice, I want you to understand that change and challenges are constant in your life. Change and challenges are constant. Be it you as a teenager, an adult, whether you're a huge success, you will always be faced with change and challenges. That's another way of expressing crossroads. So my first crossroads at this time, he said, I'm going to give you three pieces of advice which will help you have a breakthrough whenever you come through a crossroad. Are you ready? I said, yes. Firstly, surround yourself with the right people, people who are like-minded, like-hearted, who inspire you, encourage you. Secondly, continuously learn. Learn from people, learn from blogs, learn from articles, learn from podcasts, learn from this very experience we're having today. And third, and most importantly, is take action. Take massive action. Because when you take action in your life, it results in change, it results in learning, progress, breakthrough. So these very three ideas was the sort of the breakthrough that I had when I had this crossroads during my teenage years. I never looked back because beyond that, once I changed schools and surrounded myself with a great bunch of friends, I constantly learned, I took action, and my grades improved. My whole outlook on life improved. And I've never looked back because that really resonated with me. The second example I would love to give and share with you is I started my business career in Dubai in 1995 when I graduated. And for 20 years, I was living in Dubai. And that was my sort of hub in terms of where my family was based, be it my business, where whilst it was in the Gulf and sometimes outside in Asia, Dubai was my hub. 2015, 16, we were going through challenging times at work. And I said, I got to open a new opportunity. And that's when I started visiting India month after month over 3 years. Come 2018, I'd spent nearly 5 months of my year in India away from my family who was in Dubai, working hard, doing my best to build the business and diversify the business between two regions. This is the second crossroads in my life when I said to myself, now what? I really want to spend time with my family. I want to grow my business. At the same time, I'm not appreciating that I'm spending so much time away from my family. Maybe some of you could relate to these sort of decisions we make as businessmen, as leaders, that we need to balance our personal and our professional lives. We do make sacrifices to progress and succeed, but we also got to make some tough decisions. And I took the decision with my family to move to Mumbai, India in 2019. Was it an easy decision? No. But was it the right decision? Yes. And here we moved away from the comfort of a city like Dubai to Mumbai to expand the business. The third and final crossroads, which would really be close to everyone's hearts who are watching today, would be around COVID. COVID hit the globe March 2020, a very difficult time for each one of us. And, one of the principles I learned from Jack Canfield is that E plus R equals O. So we come across many events. We can call them events. We can call them experiences. We can call them crossroads. We come across those sort of situations. And we have to take a response and choose how we respond to that. And that determines the outcome. So event plus response equals outcome. The event in this case I'm talking about is COVID-19. We're still in 2021 and we still have COVID very present. In fact, even more heightened is the situation. But how are you choosing to respond? Are you grateful? Are you accepting what you cannot change? Are you helping other people? Are you inspiring others? Are you encouraging others? How are you choosing to respond? The way you choose to respond will determine your outcome and your experience during this time. What are you learning from this time? Are you becoming more resilient? What changes are you making in your life? What are you appreciating in your life? Are you spending time with your family? So this very third example is something that you can all relate to. I know every one of us is going through a very difficult time, some more than others. But this crossroads, this third and final one that we're going through currently, will not be the last challenge that you or I go through in your life. But let's learn from these crossroads. Let's learn from these challenges and make sure we respond positively so we can have the best outcome. Thank you, Sagar.
Wow, Gautam, I am stunned because what you shared, I mean, can't see, but I have goosebumps because when you say about the childhood, the trauma that would have left on you, I'm sure it would have left a deep, deep, deep impact on you. And I would be very happy to share this, that your father said three things, and I've just pasted them here. Surround yourself with the right people, learn continuously, and take massive action.
Yes.
People, if you're listening to this, this is the golden words coming from a man who has seen more than five generations, Gautam's father. Five decades, not generations, but I'm sure he'll see more than five generations in his lifetime. But I'm saying it's coming from someone who is knowledgeable, who is wise enough to see 5 decades coming to his son, and now coming from Gautam to all of us. So that's amazing. Secondly, when you talked about business transition, when coming from London to India or Dubai to India and being with the family, I think every professional is currently going through that turmoil where they work very hard because the aim is to fulfill the need and the wants of their family. But in his heart or in her heart, they want to spend time with family. But because they want to earn, they postpone it to their old age. And that is where we are seeing so many entrepreneurs coming up, so many people coming up with, following their passion or trying to work what they like and trying to spend time with family. Tanvi, thank you for joining us. Major Mohammed, thank you for joining us. Mansi, thank you for joining us and commenting so well and engaging with us. It's really inspiring to all of us. And the third, Gautam, you talked about E plus R is equal to O. I mean, wow, such a profound thing. Event will happen in everyone's life. And let's say the event is a crossroad. The same way, respond. How do you respond? What do you do? And results is outcome. I'm sure if you respond to any of the event, the outcome has to be something negative, positive. Let the universe decide it. But if you don't respond and if you just sit on that event crying, there's no outcome. So, Gautam, I am honored today to have such profound statements, such profound insights of what you should do when you're at crossroads of life. Thank you very much for enriching all of us. Uh,
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, Sagar.
so I wanted to, come to a point where I can ask you that, you know, we all have many crossroads in our life. I'm sure you had many more than this, but you've stated this three. So as your father gave you three learnings, but if I have to ask you today to, put yourself in your father's shoes and advise everyone three things that you can tell them to survive at the crossroads, or three things that you learned and you want to share from your journey, your life.
Thank you, Sagar. I mean, there are many learning, but honestly, I keep it really simple. When something is working tremendously well, I just apply it with 200% conviction. And every time I've gone through any challenge, personally or professionally, I sit in silence, I sit quietly, and apply this very advice. So if I use this COVID time, I said to myself, who are the right people I need to spend time with? Who do I need to learn from during this time? Who is going to uplift me, be it family members or be it friends? Because I know that will ensure that I'm in the right state of mind. And then in the learning space, I'm like, okay, what do I need to learn? I had not even hosted a single webinar a year and a half ago in my life. And yet in last year, I hosted over 100 webinars in one year. So I'm going from zero experience to 100 is because I surrounded myself with other people. Learned what it is to host a webinar and I took action and I took the first step immediately. And I had 100 webinars to my name last year in hosting, which is just a classic example of what's possible. Nothing's impossible. Impossible is nothing in that sense. So the first and foremost I would say is acceptance. Because if I go back in some of the difficulties, when I look back, when they lasted much longer than I'd like them to, is because I didn't accept. So
Correct.
I believe the moment you go through a problem, accept what you cannot change so that you use all your energy on focusing on what you can control. And that's a big distinction. So whilst I apply these strategies of my dad, these three, I first accepted, I then again learned, spent time, and then took action. And that to me is what helped me during this difficult time and continues as we are even today, and to learn from our experiences. So those are the quick words that come to my mind. Another one is something called work made fun get done, which I learned from the book The Fish Philosophy, because I believe we spend 70% of our lives or more at work or in our businesses. So we should certainly enjoy it, because whatever challenges and crossroads you go through, you've got to enjoy it to be able to sustain your business and to be able to thrive in the long run. A business is a marathon. It's not a race of a short race. It's not a transaction.
Yeah.
And so I want to make that distinction is, make sure whatever you're doing personally, professionally, you love what you do, because that is what you need. You need that passion and you need that positive energy to be able to grow during this time. So that would be it. And another thought I guess comes to my mind on closing would be really about, when I say breaking bread, it's just about, it's not transactional. Breaking bread is a journey. It's not a destination that it's just an event. It's a journey. You build great relationships over time. They're nurtured. You build trust. You build rapport. And so when you build trust and rapport, you earn the right for business. You earn the right to grow. So that is sort of another takeaway that I can share.
Lovely takeaways. So the most important, just to click that word is, business is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Well said, Gautam, because most of the people take relationship, networking, or even breaking bread as just a transaction that, I met you, exchanged the cards, shared something, and then boom. It doesn't happen that way. You keep nurturing it, you keep watering it, you keep giving it fertilizer, give it right air, and then you expect fruits coming out of it. And sometimes it's not the fruit that you might eat. Sometimes your father would have built a relationship, and that's giving you the results now. I mean, so many times in business, I've seen that it's running from father and son in a manufacturing industry, and the father has built a very good rapport with the industry and the people around in the bank. And earlier, nobody would be lending them money in crisis. But because his father has been posing up a good trust and a relationship, now when the son was working, out of the blue, some people come and say, "Hey, do you need some help? Do you need some loan? Let me know." And that's how breaking bread actually works. Well said,
You-
Gautam. I
What
mean,
you what you just shared, Sagar, triggers another message. As my dad said, the
sure,
most important bank account in the world is not the financial bank account; it's the emotional bank account. The emotional
absolutely.
bank account you have with your friends, with your family. That's most important. Money comes and goes in life. We all go through our own cycles. But what's the relationship capital you have and the emotional bank account? That's the key to your success, happiness, and inner fulfillment.
Absolutely. I mean, I have been listening and having conversation with you, Gautam, for last so many years now, and I have an inner desire that I'm going to come to Bombay and meet your father once, meet him in person, because I've heard so many things about him. Now I'm tempted. Just let this time go, and then I'm popping in Mumbai. So
Thank you so much.
lovely.
Thank you so much.
So Arun Singh has just joined and he's asking, what does E, R, and O means? Arun, E means impact, the event, which
Event.
can be anything. R is your response to it, and O is the outcome. And this is shared with us by Gautam, but that has been invented or being discovered by Jack Canfield, right, Gautam?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Lovely,
Yes.
lovely. So now coming on to the next point here, Gautam, is talking about at the crossroads. I've recently authored a book called At the Crossroads of Life. And again, I'll be grateful to you because it was you who connected me on a webinar with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. And I had some conversation on the webinar through chat, asking questions, and he responded. And that's how some connection was built. And I'm so honored that I was connected with him, where I could reach out to him to share my manuscript, and he took out that time, respecting that, and he endorsed the book, At the Crossroads. So grateful to you, Gautam, for connecting that link or becoming the bridge for that connection to happen. So thanks a ton. And coming to the question, which is your favorite chapter from the book At the Crossroads of Life?
Well, first and foremost, Sagar, my heartiest congratulations to you on writing this fantastic book. I know it's something that was a dream for you at one stage in your life. So I really want to acknowledge and appreciate you for fulfilling that dream and being an authority of that book. So my congratulations to you. So in
Sure.
terms of the book, I mean, there are many great chapters in the book, which I'm sure will resonate with everyone who has the pleasure of reading the book. But the chapter which resonates with me a lot is the opportunity and adversity. You know,
Ah,
because it very resembles a lot of what we've talked about today in adversities that we all go through in life. I mean, you had your own challenges, and I read the story about when you were in the UK and your parents were here, and we all go through these different adversities, personally and professionally, and in every adversity there is a learning, and in every learning there is an opportunity. It's for
very
you to
true.
at least you know acknowledge and accept that. And I look at every situation what many people would look at negatively or look at difficult or stress. I say, how do I reframe this situation? you know um, I came back from Dubai this recent trip a couple of months back, and I had to stay in quarantine in the hotel with my daughter. And I said to her, well, we are presented with 7 days. People are saying, no, why are you staying in the hotel? And this could happen, that could happen. I said to my daughter, this is a wonderful opportunity that we have to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. We get a chance to have quality conversations that we normally would not have time because each one's doing their own routine. And I was just relaxed and enjoyed those 7 days. I, in fact, said thank you for the opportunity to be in lockdown with my daughter in quarantine for the 7 days. Many other people look at that adversity like, oh my God, you've gone from the airport, you've gone in a you know BMC bus and gone to the hotel. Must be so inconvenient. I said, it is what it is. I can't change that. They're doing it for the health and wellness of the nation in mind, and that's the right decision to do. Let me embrace this opportunity. So in every adversity is an opportunity to focus on the positive, focus on what you learn from it, and be
Right.
grateful. And that's to me what I take away from that beautiful chapter that you've written.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Gautam. And again, it relates to the analogy which we shared of Jack is E plus R is equal to O. So the event was you were asked to quarantine. Your response was grateful. Yes, I'll quarantine myself. And the outcome, you had a wonderful time with your daughter. Now, isn't that amazing, everyone who's listening out there? Let's put this strategy or this analogy to use. E plus R is equal to O. And that also, Gautam, reminds me of very good thing which I heard from Gaur Gopal Das. He said, there's a problem. Yes. Can you take action? Yes. Then take it. The second thing to that thing was, is there a problem? Yes. Can you do anything about it? No. Why worry? And the third thing he said was, is there a problem? No. Why worry? And in that 30 seconds of video, he added so much of insight, so much of insight. So lovely talking to you, Gautam, and it was a pleasure to have this conversation with you at the crossroads. Any parting statements, any parting words that you would like to share?
Well, thank you, Sagar, for the opportunity to share my story, share my journey. I hope being able to add value to your readers. I would like to share a little bit about your book in saying that, it has the 5 ingredients of success. And what I mean to that, many people out there say, what does it take to make a good book, to write a good book? We've published several authors and speakers in the region through our partner in India and Australia. And to me, your book is easy to read. It's simple to understand. There are stories to inspire. This is the key one for me. Short enough that even a non-reader would be happy to read it. And last but not least, it's easily available online. It's the very ingredients when I published the book Breaking Bread, I said, it needs to be appealing to everybody. Even a non-reader will pick up the book and say, this is not intimidating to pick up and read. So, I congratulate you on the book and highly recommend those watching this episode today, get a copy of this book so you will know how to work with crossroads that are in your life, personally and professionally, and apply E plus R equals O. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gautam. It was a pleasure to have you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us from Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Stay tuned for more shows, more conversations at the crossroads. And leaving you all saying the same thing that I did in the last show, collective prayers have a lot of energy. If any one of you feel that you want to do something for people who are struggling out right now, but you cannot go outside, all you have to do, and all we do as a family, is we sit in the evening, pray for the people who are outside, and just share that positive energy outside. That's one thing we all can do. And collective prayers, collective positive energy has a lot of impact. So please, 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 everyone who is listening right now, who has joined us right now, have 2 minutes in the evening with your family, say a prayer, and just let the energy go out in the universe for everyone who needs it. Thank you very much, Gautam. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you,
And
Sagar.
see you soon.